Thor: Love and Thunder is finally out, and you'll see a mix of opinions on Twitter right now. But there's this one thing that not a lot of people know about this new film. Did you know that Thor 4 was Cersei Lannister's MCU debut? She was actually in the film. Yes, you heard that right. But things didn't go as planned, and now she has a lawsuit to deal with. Let's unpack it all. First up, why didn't we see her? No, she didn't play an invisible part, and no, you aren't crazy. The actress Lena Headey, who played Queen Cersei in Game of Thrones, was cast in the movie, and she acted as well, but, and check out the audacity of the filmmakers here, her role was cut out of the movie, and she was nowhere to be seen in the theater cut. Her fans have wanted to see her in a Marvel movie for a long time now. It's obvious from the sheer amount of fan art online that depicts her potential Marvel superhero looks. In fact, back when Thor: Love and Thunder was in the very early stages of production, there were rumors on the internet that we would see Headey in this movie. Cersei fans were over the moon about the idea of having their two worlds collide. But why would they first get such a famous actress only to chuck her scenes out from the film? To be honest, this is where we should probably consider the scale of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's insanely vast, both money-wise and cast-wise. So it's essential to consider that even if she's a popular actress and has that little show Game of Thrones on her resume, the MCU has an assortment of star casts. Like, come on, after months of hype, Harry Styles only got to grin for half a second in a Marvel movie. So it's weird, sure, but understandable how they probably couldn't find room for her role in the movie. After all, there's a lot of cutting and chopping and God knows what else that goes on in the editing rooms. Now, let's tell you about the lawsuit. Well, Thor 4 didn't give Lena screen time, but it did get her stuck in a lawsuit. The entire blame isn't Marvel's though. It's more Headey and her former agency's grapple. Hear it for yourself. So Headey's former UK agency, Troika, has now rebranded as YMU and says that she owes them money. Now, the way it works is that when an actor gets a job, they have to give a cut of the money they make from that job to their agency, according to whatever percentage was agreed upon in the contract. Troika has accused her of not paying her due commissions from not just one, but multiple projects, and sued her for $1.5 million. And Thor: Love and Thunder was the biggest and most recent of these projects, which drove them to take action against her. In fact, you should actually thank this lawsuit for confirming she really had a role in Thor, because without it, nobody would have really known, and it would have remained a rumor. The agency claims Headey needs to give them at least $500,000, which makes 7% of what she was paid for the role, which is over $7 million. This isn't all. YMU also claims she owes them hundreds of thousands of dollars for her roles in the film 9 Bullets and a series called Rita. This is weird because, you know, Lannisters always pay their debts. So to summarize it all, YMU wants the money and they want her to pay damages for breach of contract. But surely Headey must have something to say, so let's hear her out next. So what's her position on this? According to Variety, both Headey's and YMU's reps refuse to give any statements about the issue. Still, she has made claims to defend herself. She denies the existence of such a contract in the first place, saying that it was never a signed document and that both the agency and Headey herself were acting according to an oral agreement made in the 1990s. Also, it was confirmed that YMU weren't the only ones representing her. She was also represented by an American agency called CAA, and in 2020, she left YMU altogether. Here's what she has to say about the Thor commission fees. Well, Queen Cersei over here says that she doesn't owe the agency anything because they weren't involved in her getting the role. Taika Waititi himself contacted her about it. So no involvement, no money. She's also quite clear about the previous projects that were brought up in the lawsuit. Same as with Thor, she denies that Troika had no part in landing her the role in 9 Bullets. And about the drama series Rita, she said only the first episode of the show was shot and there aren't going to be any more of them. She claims she was paid $325,000 for it, and she's already paid the due share of that to the agency. We'll have to wait and watch what happens because nobody has released official statements about this. If you see things from her side, it's kind of annoying to keep paying an agency fat amounts from your earnings if they're not involved in your career anymore. But who knows, there could be some weight to the agency's accusations. Whatever it is, one thing's for sure. This time, she'll need a lot of Lannisters on her side. That wasn't a bad pun. There's no such thing as a bad pun. But what even was this role? All this fuss and for what? Who was she even playing? We're afraid the answer to that is disappointment. Cutting her scenes out wasn't the only disservice to the fans. They didn't even reveal what her character was. But one thing's for sure, it wasn't just a cameo. It was a whole scene or even scenes. It could either be just a new character they introduced for this film alone, but then thought it didn't fit, so they didn't include it. Or they wanted to soft launch a permanent character for Phase 4 Marvel, but saved it for another time to give us a big reveal. So what if it's a delusion? It feels good. Let's mention that she was the fan cast for Melina Vostokov. This character from the comic books is a supervillain. She's Russian and she's an enemy of Black Widow. Okay, this woman's cool. Please let her be in a movie. Also, there were other cameos. The path to Thor: Love and Thunder is littered with uncredited cameos. Lena Headey had her scenes cut off, but she wasn't the only Game of Thrones star who could potentially be seen on screen with Chris Hemsworth. Peter Dinklage also had a cameo in the movie that was later edited out. Okay, where's the editor? We just want to talk. We just want to talk. Other than that, Jeff Goldblum also apparently had a cameo that we didn't get to see. Maybe it was a little shout out to the Grandmaster from Ragnarok. We'll never know. Anyway, even these actors themselves are sad about not being on the screen. We're sure they have quite a few dollar bills to wipe their tears with. Time to fill you in on some other news. Not all fans are too happy with Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi's last Thor film, Ragnarok, was well received. Sure, it did get its share of criticism for being too comedic and non-serious for a superhero film, but fans defended it like their lives depended on it. This time, a lot of fans said they found the movie disappointing too. Maybe it's because a lot of people haven't watched it still, but as of now, Twitter's divided. Those who liked it are saying it was not too Marvel-ish, but it was very funny and entertaining, so tune in if a little bit of fun's what you want. But someone said on Twitter that when people start saying such things, it means the movie's trash. This tweet was liked by thousands of people. So the best thing would be to go watch it and judge for yourself. Also, are the little Hemsworths actors now? Spoiler alert if you haven't watched the movie. The character played by Chris Hemsworth's daughter India was previously kept a secret, but now that the movie's out, everyone's loving seeing her on screen as Love, the God Butcher's daughter. Hemsworth said that his kids being in Thor movies doesn't mean that he wants his kid to become child actors. It was just a fun thing that they wanted to be a part of. His co-star Christian Bale testified that the relationship between Chris and his daughter was the cutest, and he said he thought Hemsworth was a great dad. Oh, and Taika's a Kate Bush and a Stranger Things fan. Taika Waititi said in a recent interview that he was annoyed that the Duffer Brothers used Kate Bush's music in Stranger Things. Here's what he said: "I've become one of those old arseholes who's like, these kids never listened to Kate Bush. They've heard one song on a TV show. They don't know Kate Bush. I know Kate Bush." He did say though that he loves the show, and because they used her music first, he couldn't get it for Love and Thunder, and it ruined it for him. That's a wrap for this video. Are you disappointed that Headey's role was not credited in Thor 4? And do you think she has a future in the MCU? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.